Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NFL Alumni Lounge. We are right now live in Dallas, Texas, and we have what you could call a Dallas boy, born and bred NFL legend and two-time Super Bowl champion, Mr. Bump and Run, Ray Crockett. Ray,
Yes,
how
sir.
are you?
I'm good, baby. What's going on?
It's great to have you in the
me
lounge.
on, you know. That insignia right there, it means a lot to me.
Absolutely.
You know, when I look at NFL and when I look at alumni, man, that's major for me, for my family, for my life. It changed everything about who I am and what I do today, for sure.
Absolutely. And you know what? I want to jump right here with you. So we're in your town. Okay, we're in Dallas, and this guy basically owns the whole city of Dallas. Like, right? If you need an oil change, he owns it. If you need a haircut, he owns it. A meal, he owns the restaurants. So with Dallas being such a big part of your life, I just want to know, as you were looking at, you start with alumni conversation, as you were talking about entering alumni life, were you scared of retirement? Like, a lot of guys have trouble with it.
Man, let me tell you.
And you had a long career. You had a very long career.
And let me tell you, it's the hardest thing to do. Fortunate enough for me, like you said, I played a decade and a half. If something unforeseen would have happened and I retired after my first, second, or third year, let me first of all and just tell you this. I'm a hot guy. I'm an honest, open, and transparent guy at this point.
Sound the alarm on that one. Repeat it.
You know what I'm saying?
H-O-T. Repeat it, Ray. Tell him.
I'm an honest, open, and transparent guy. And this is what I get from watching church and watches, preachers and things of that nature. Pastor Todd, I watch him all the time out in Tulsa. And they have that phrase, hot, honest, open, and transparent. Not many churches are. And as I heard that, I told myself, I said, that's me all day, every day. That's where I am in my life. I'm like, I'm not ashamed of anything I've done. I'm not embarrassed. I have, we all have regrets, but I go past them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Were you always that way?
Yeah.
Where did you learn that?
I learned that as you go.
Okay.
As you go, because, once you're playing as a professional athlete and as a celebrity.
Right.
You always feel, and a lot of celebrities won't say it, a lot of athletes won't say it, in general, you always feel you have a certain thing to uphold.
Right.
You always should be happy.
Right.
You always should be smiling. You're making money. Life should be grand. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you should never have down days. But I learned to realize that, you know what? Just because you are a celebrity by title, you're an athlete by title, whatever that takes, you're still a person in life.
Absolutely.
You're human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're going to feel that. So that's when I said, you know what? To help myself in this transition, it got a lot easier when I became hot. When I wasn't hot, it's difficult.
But he was still hot. When he wasn't hot, he was still hot.
I was still hot when I wasn't hot. But yeah, it became a lot easier when I became that, though.
But business, Ray, when you talk businesses, so when you're playing, did you have your eye on business? Had you opened any of your businesses, or was this all post-ball?
No, I had some businesses when when I was playing. I mean, when I went to Baylor University. Baylor was a big business school, the hand camera school of business. It was a big tech school at that time. Dell Computers was, from Texas. He went to UT and dropped out or whatever. But this area, the Austin, Baylor, the Waco, the Texas, the Dallas area was becoming tech. So I actually got my degree in finance and I got my degree in computer science. I was a double major.
Wow.
Yeah, so I knew I eventually wanted to be in business. I wanted to do something.
Right.
And I tell people right now, I lost a lot. You have to be honest. I lost a lot because I wanted to be business so bad that I did it while I was playing. That's the worst time.
What part of your career are we talking?
I'm talking probably my 6th, 7th, 8th year.
So you're in Denver now, or you're in Kansas?
I'm in Denver.
Okay,
at this point.
you're in Denver.
And Detroit, I didn't really do anything. I did my first agent. We did a little club thing that I was a small, but I, really just a face.
You were young, you were a kid.
Yeah, really just a face and just wanted to party.
Right.
I
want the drinks for free, so I'm going to buy the bar.
Club. All right, I drink free. Women. Woo.
Right.
But when I got to Denver, I was more mature and I started to do some business stuff, and I lost simply because I tell people all the time, my dad used to always give me this saying. He used to always say, prepare for war in time of peace. Meaning, while you're making money, while you're stable,
right,
and you're not worried about paying your bills, worried about anything, learn about what you want to do. That's peacetime. So learn about whatever business you want to start. And I didn't take his advice. I jumped out there. I was like, I got plenty of money. Ain't no big deal. Let's do it. You know, that's when a lot of these guys would get taken. But once I learned those things and I started to get back into the business when I retired, and right before I retired, when I knew I was retiring, but I did a lot of reading and I did a lot of research and I did some studying and stuff. And then I started to open businesses that was successful.
What did your pops do?
Oh, my pops was just the OG, as they call it, from Dallas. You know, he was just one of those street smart guys.
Wow.
You know, just one of those street smart guys that, you know, had lost a lot in his lifetime. You know, he was, to be honest, he was, again, like I said, I'm hot and I'm honest, open, transparent. He was a gambler.
Okay.
You know, so he knew about putting his money where his mouth was, and he knew about betting against the odds, and he knew about when it was time to really stack the chips.
Yeah.
You know, that's what gamblers do. You know when to hold them, you know when to fold them.
Absolutely.
So those sometimes are the best guys to get advice from.
Absolutely.
You know, it's
some of the best coaches to play for,
it's
too.
Old school street advice.
Right.
And it's amazing how it really works in the business world.
Wow. So this interview is so exciting for me, but you know, now we're in this time too where college guys are starting to come into big money with the NIL deal. So that's
legacy money.
Yeah, and I think this is so important, and I think that you're such an important guy to represent the NFL alumni because of the road you've traveled.
Right.
So let's take it back to the top. So growing up in Dallas, what was home life like in the Crockett house?
The Crockett house is tough, man.
How many siblings?
I mean, I had 5 sisters and brothers. There was 6 of us, soon to be 7 afterwards. My parents together had 7 kids, and I was the baby boy. And
you're the youngest of all?
I was the youngest. Well, I was the youngest boy.
Till the 7 come in.
Yeah, I had a younger sister.
Okay.
And then the 7th was a younger sister.
Okay.
So I was the youngest boy, and I had an older sister. So it was a sister, 4 boys, 2 girls. You know what I'm saying? So I became, basically, with my dad being in the streets, I became a father at a young age to my younger sisters.
For sure.
Because my mom worked so much, and she worked herself to the bones, and with us living in the projects, living in apartments, in and out of house. We live when people say, "Are you from Dallas?" I'm one guy that can say I'm from Dallas because I lived in about 27 places in Dallas. I lived in Wilmer Hutchins. I lived in Duncanville. I lived in Oak Cliff. I lived in South Dallas. I lived in South Lake.
He knows this place like the back of his hand.
I'm saying I am a true Dallas boy. Wow. You know how some people live in one area and say I'm from Dallas, but no, you're really from Plano. No, you're really from Louisville. Right. No, I'm from Dallas.
Yeah,
I'm truly from Dallas.
Man, and you went, and obviously you have a lot of family here, but you go on. We're gonna jump all over the place here because this guy gets me going. But so you go on and you bring these 2 big pieces of jewelry, right? He wins these 2 Super Bowl rings in Denver, and we were talking about this earlier. There's something about the makeup of a man because a lot of players, and for good reason, when they win in a town and their name means so much in a town, they obviously want to live there because everything, you're an icon in that town. You have a huge reputation here in Dallas, but come on, you go and win 2 rings. You're a hero in Denver, right? So you could have easily kicked your feet up, lived over there in Denver, been a king, and you said, no, I want to come back and I want to build my empire right here in Dallas.
Right.
What was behind that thought process?
I mean, just to be quite frank, my ex-wife, she really made the best decision that I didn't take. And I always tell myself that. She told me, she said, let's stay in Denver. And I probably should have, because like you said, I didn't, and what was so crazy was I honestly didn't know, because sometimes when you are inside, you don't really know what reputation you have or how well renowned.
You don't realize how much you mean.
You don't realize how much you mean to a city.
Yeah.
But my ex-wife being on the outside.
Was she from Denver?
No, she's from Dallas.
Okay.
But, with her hanging out and going to the places, to the mall, to the, grocery store and all that, when she said Crockett, the eyes was like, what?
Yeah.
And I didn't really notice that. I just kept thinking to myself, I want to go back to Dallas where I grew up and where I suffered so much, and I want to go help people. in Dallas. I want to go help, people that were in my position, less fortunate. I wanted to go back and do something, build a charity there and open businesses there and supply jobs and do different stuff. That's all I ever had in my mind.
Why?
And it's because that's what, that's what I was taught. I was taught by, going to church early and to whom much is given, much is expected. All of that stuff rang in my head. And I the way you get is how you give. All those things you learn in the Bible. Texas is the Bible Belt, Dallas, Waco. You go to Baylor University, you're studying religion every day.
Oh, wow.
Like you have to read the Bible every day at Baylor. So there is no way you can go to Baylor and come out without a sense of something in your heart, from the Bible. And so that's all I knew. I was like, man, if I ever get enough money, if I ever get extra money, I want to give back. I want to do stuff for my city,
that's awesome.
For where I was from. And that's kind of where I was. But yet and still, I ended up doing a lot of stuff in Denver still.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy. Yeah, and I still do. I broadcast. I had a radio TV show there just, right before COVID. COVID kind of, distracted a lot of stuff. But after 15 years, and to your point, after 15 years of not being there, like when I retired, I went to Cali. I worked for Fox, the Best Down Sports Show. I was a host there. I had my own radio show there, so I was well accepted in the media. But 15, 16 years after I retired, I go back to Denver just on a humbug. My best friend, Rod Smith, still lives in Denver. Steve Atwater moved back to Denver from Atlanta. And I called Rod and I called Steve. I said, man, I think I want to get back involved. They both was like, dude, come on. Literally. I go there within 1 week.
Right.
I had a radio and TV show.
That's insane.
Yeah, and that's the respect level that I had there.
And there is that brotherhood.
Yes.
And those are some of the most solid guys. I'm going to hit you with a fact. You know what? I'm going to actually, I don't have my phone here, but I got to tell you, actually, no, I am going to show you this. So I'm going to right now, I am going to show Ray a photo. Okay, and I'm going to see if he...
And this is the first time I'm seeing this photo, by the way. I don't know what he's about to show me.
He has no idea. So
no idea.
He's got to be thinking, what the hell is this guy?
And I am.
Right now? But I'll tell you what I'm going to show you is one of your former teammates. Okay. And this is history that one of your former teammates made. I don't know if you know about it, but I'm going to get your live reaction right now.
Okay.
You know who that guy is right there? Okay. You
Steve
see what
Atwater, yes.
Do you see what he's wearing?
Yeah, McDonald's All-American.
He was a McDonald's All-American ball player.
Trust me, I knew it.
Wow.
Well, Steve and I, crazy thing is this. Steve and I met. My high school teammate was Barry Foster, who played in the league, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Barry played fullback, I played tailback. Barry was my blocking back. And then when I left, he broke every record I had at Duncanville. But so Barry goes to Arkansas, and Barry was Steve's roommate a couple of years.
What?
So Barry calls me, he goes, Ray, man, we got this safety. This dude is you talking about an athlete. He's like, he's ridiculous. And I'm like, what's his name? He's like, Steve Atwater, whatever. And I'm at Baylor, we play. We're in the Southwest Conference at this time. We play Arkansas every year. So I'm like, okay, when we play in a couple of, 2 or 3 weeks, I want to meet him, introduce me to him. And I'm telling you, Barry brings Steve over, and I'm looking at Barry walk. Barry's about my size. Well, not size, big, but height-wise, he's about 5'10". And Steve is 6'5", 6'4 and a half, whatever. So Barry is walking over with Steve, and I'm not even thinking of Steve Atwater. He's a safety.
Right.
So Barry goes, Ray, meet Steve. I'm going, what the fuck? I said, well, I thought you said he played safety. I'm thinking he was a defensive end. He's like, he's a safety. I said, whoa.
It is amazing. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
And then that's when I looked up his, when you look up the roster stuff in Arkansas,
right?
I looked it up and it said high school McDonald's All-American basketball. Now, he didn't play in the game because he was sick.
Right.
He ended up getting sick.
Steve, if Steve Atwater's listening, that is a true friend right now.
Yeah.
Ray Crockett is a true friend.
Oh, I know all about my guy.
Open and transparent.
I know all about my guy.
We got him that jersey as his induction gift.
That's crazy.
Because he never got his jersey.
Yeah, because he didn't get to play.
Yeah.
And so when I saw they said he was a McDonald's All-American, you know me, I'm a jokester. Everybody knows I'm a jokester on the team or whatever.
Right.
So I wanted some ammunition. Let me see what he averaged in the McDonald All-American. Then I saw, he didn't even play. I was like, and I felt bad for him.
Right.
Because I'm like, dang, you was the McDonald. And I'm a basketball guy. I mean, I played basketball growing up, and I love that Spud Webb, who played in the league, was my mentor. So he's right here from Dallas.
No way. So you knew Spud?
Oh, yeah, I knew Spud. I knew Ricky Dixon, who played at Oklahoma, played for Cincinnati. All those guys were where I lived. I told you I lived in Webber Hutchins at one time. So,
So how did you meet Spud, and what was like some of the best advice he's given you?
I met Spud at a basketball game, and his brother actually ran track. I ran track as well. His brother, Reginald Webb, was one of the fastest guys in Dallas. And I knew them, like I said, Spud was, being 5'6", 5'7", Spud was an icon in high school. He was an icon, and I met him one time, and he was talking to me about playing sports and being smaller, because at that time, I was literally, when I first started playing my sophomore year in high school, I was 5'7.5".
Wow.
So I'm thinking I might end up being Spud Webb. I ended up being 5'10", which is, not huge, but that's a huge difference from 5'7.5" to play football.
For sure.
So, I ended up being 5'10", but there was one time I thought I was going to be 5'7", 5'8". Wow. So Spud was like, look, it's not about the, it's cliches, but he was like, man, it's not about the, the man in the fight. It's about the fighting the man and all that stuff, and it's not about how big you are. It's how big your heart. Absolutely. And then when I saw him play, the proof is in the pudding. You not tell me nothing. In the pudding, absolutely. You not tell me nothing. I was like, and then he told me, the one thing that he really told me was, use what you have. It's not about what you don't have, it's what you have. Use what you have to your advantage. So the one thing I knew, I was faster than most, I was quicker than most, and I was stronger than most. So I used that to my advantage. And that's where bump and run came from. That's where, my technique and everything came from, because that is what I could do better than most, is I could, be quicker, be faster, and be stronger.
And that is no small potatoes. And I'll tell you what, artistically, we went from McDonald's All-American, and then we went to Spud. Okay, so there was a potato connection right there.
For sure.
But you said something that might have slipped by, or might have had some of our listeners scratching their heads, because you were talking about playing running back.
Right.
Okay, because you grew up playing running back, and everybody that's listening to this show, well, not everybody, but 90% of the people,
right,
they think of you and they think of defense.
Right, cornerback, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And in Texas, think about Texas. Look, Texas is a football state. Mm-hmm. And the one thing the coaches will do in Texas, they're going to utilize their best players, their best athletes. So I played kick return, I played punt return, I played wide receiver, I played quarterback, and I played running back.
No kidding.
And I played cornerback. All in the same year. Like literally all in the same year. They don't play in Texas. It ain't that one position. All that. No, it's can you help me win a game? Like literally in one game, I literally ran a kickoff back for a touchdown. I ran a punt return back for a touchdown. I had an interception, and I had a receiving touchdown in one game. Wow. In one game.
Wow.
In one game, I played all those positions. They don't play when it comes, in Texas. If you can play, you can play. So for me, I figured I was going to go to college as a slot back, wide receiver type thing. And I ended up playing corner, and it worked out, for the best of my ability, and it worked out for me as well. But I still missed. I'm not going to lie. When I got to Baylor, I thought I was going to be the punt returner, but they had Thomas Everett, who was a Jim Thorpe Award winner, went to the NFL, led the nation in punt returns. So
lightning fast.
Yeah, so I never got to play punt return.
Wow.
So all that stuff went away. So I said, hey, take advantage of what you can, and like Spud told me, it's not about what you don't have and who you're not. It's about what you have and who you are. So,
but your heart, you're growing up, so your heart was clearly, you just loved it. You loved the thrill. You had an adrenaline rush from being on the offensive side of the ball, and then from being in charge, holding the pigskin, changing the game. Was it a shot at your ego at all when they told you to change positions? How did it go for you? How did they tell you wanted to change?
Yeah, it was a big shot for one, because, mind you, I was 5'9.5", 165 pounds when I got to college.
Hey, go play corner.
Now you want me to tackle? right. These big old I'm like, what?
Right.
like I'm thinking I can run away from a lot of these guys. But now I got to run to them.
Run to and through?
Man, yeah. So it was my freshman year. It was. I mean, when I tell you, it was rough. It was some sleepless nights. It was some I want to go home nights. It was some big time. It was some big time, adversity for me mentally, not knowing how to do it. Like,
sure.
I had never had adversity. Like
you were always the stud.
Yeah, my sophomore year, I didn't play my freshman year. I got cut, from the high school I was at there. Transfer, went to a new high school, and boom, thrusting. My first year, I make all district. My second year, I'm all state. Everything's going my way. And then I go to Baylor, and I'm like the back of the totem pole. Wow. And let me tell you, what's so funny is this. I play corner at Baylor. They have Ron Francis, who was a second-round draft pick. They have Thomas Everett, who's the Jim Thorpe Award. And they have Norris Blunt, who was Mel Blunt's son, the Mel Blunt son at the school. Yeah. And we're doing tackling drills. And Thomas Everett, All-American, two-time All-American, Jim Thorpe Award, went against me every time my freshman year. Whoa. And kicked my ass.
That'll when I tell you, though.
Kicked my ass, but it was to the point to where, because he saw something special in me. And he was like, he wanted me to play right away. He thought I could play right away. So he would kick my ass because the first thing the coaches told him, he can't play right now. He's not tough enough.
Ooh.
So Thomas was like, I'm going to make him tough. And got me on the field. Like, literally, I played my freshman year, wasn't redshirted, played my freshman year. I started my sophomore year with Thomas, So I ended up starting when we were, really, really good. And it was because of Thomas Everett. It was because of me getting my ass kicked. And I had this saying, which is so crazy. And this is a saying for you guys out there in life. When things are, it's a life saying, when things are packing up on you, when things are going against you, don't worry about winning. Just think about not losing as much. And the wins will start to come. So that's what I started to say. I started to tell myself, okay, this time I'm probably going to lose, but I'm not going to lose as much.
Wow.
Like, he's not going to knock me off the bag.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay on the bag. He might take me down, but I'm going to stay on the bag. And eventually, I finally won. Like, and every time at Baylor, which is what they do at a lot of colleges, when you lose, they make you run the stairs all the way to the freaking top. Man. So I was getting my ass kicked and running the stairs at the same time. And what Thomas Everett did, because I was so small, and I thank Thomas to the world for this, Thomas made me start working out with him. Because Thomas was yoked up. When I tell you, he looked like a freaking Ninja Turtle. I know I'm not lying. He was calf muscles, strong. Right. And I was like, how is he that damn big?
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, man, you got to get stronger. He's like, because, in Dallas, I didn't lift weights. I was fast.
Your natural skill was just carrying you.
Yeah. And I didn't start doing all that to my high school. Man, I ain't lift no damn weights. I'm just fast. I ran everybody.
Right.
So he taught me how to lift weights. And every night, I was in the weight room, and I went from 167 my freshman year to 181 my sophomore year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a big switch.
And Ray Crockett was born.
You said something right. You said it was a toughness, right, that got developed. A lot of people talk about, when they talk about going from high school to college and college to pro, they say the speed of the game changes. But speak on that toughness. Does the toughness also change in a major way from each level?
Man, physicality is a major.
Really?
Major. Even today, you see it. Even though they don't hit as much in the league today, you see physicality differences.
It's just
like last week. I mean, we played the Cowboys. That was an ass-kicking physicality-wise.
Yeah, it was.
The Denver Broncos took it to the Cowboys in the running game and ran over their ass.
How big was your smile at the end of
Oh, man, I loved it because I was telling everybody. I said, look, man, Dallas is a great team, but they're fast, they're quick, but they're not physical at all. I said, and if Denver plays a physical style of football, they're going to beat them.
They're going to take that game.
They're going to beat them, and they did. And that was the difference for me. From high school to college to pros, the physicality was tremendous.
So young Ray Crockett, going from Baylor, getting drafted by the Detroit Lions, what's your mentality headed into Detroit for the first time?
Headed into Detroit, I mean, it was one of those.
Had you ever been there?
Never been there. Never knew anything about Detroit. Didn't even know the Fords owned Detroit. Didn't know it was a automotive town. Didn't know nothing about Detroit. I actually thought I was going to get drafted by the Cowboys or the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints had the last pick, I think, in the 3rd round. Cowboys had the first pick in the 4th round, then Detroit.
Wow.
And both New Orleans and the Cowboys called me and said, we're going to draft you.
No.
Both of them did. And my family is from New Orleans, and I'm from Dallas. So I was
they both were perfect.
I was like, let's go. Right. I was like, I'm going to be. Neither one of them drafted me. Detroit go, and next thing you know, I actually left. I was at college. I was at Baylor. After the Cowboys drafted, I was late for an exam because I was still in college. I was still taking my classes. Because mind you, I went to Baylor to get a degree, not to play football. Right. I had no idea that I didn't even had a shot at going pro. I wasn't one of those young guys who thought, first time I touched the ball, I want to go pro. That was not me. I didn't think none of that.
What percentage you think?
Man, I had no percent.
0%.
Like 0%.
Wow.
Literally, in my mind, I had 0% of playing pro ball. Now, I will tell you this. My sophomore year, after I made all district, I signed my uncle. I gave my uncle a picture of me in my uniform. And on the back of it, I put, watch me go pro. Just bullcorn and nothing. Just watch me go pro. And I think I spoke it to an existence.
Wow.
I really do. And I'm big on that now, man. I'm really big.
It was deep then. It was buried in you that you knew.
Yeah. But I didn't know, but I just put watch me go pro. And I promise you, that was the only time I ever spoke about it. That's the only time I ever wrote it down. But they say that when you have a vision, you have a dream, write it down. And you can speak it into existence. And I wrote it down. That's the only time I ever did. I put watch me go pro. And I ended up going pro. And it was just crazy that the way it happened. But no, I really had no idea. I went there to get a degree. I went there to be in business. Or my uncle worked at IBM. He was a VP at IBM. He told me if I got a degree in computer science that he would hire me right away. So I got my degree in computer science. I interned at IBM. I thought that's what I was going to do.
But and guys, like, this is crazy. The craziest part about this to me and to you guys, listen, any of you guys that are college athletes right now listening, or even high school, think about this. Ray Crockett, at that time, the world was not what it is now. It was not tech controlled, but tech was starting to bubble.
Yes.
Computers were starting to enter homes, but it wasn't like in every house.
I was COBOL, Pascal, that stuff. Wow. Like, you don't even know what that is, probably.
Right.
Like that's all building computers. COBOL, Pascal, that was all languages and stuff.
Did you see this coming, what we're living in?
No, I had no idea. Like literally, let me tell you what, I always say this all the time. Sometimes you would do something that it would do one or two things. It would tell you what you want to do, and it'll tell you what you don't want to do. One or two. You're either in or out. Most of the time in life, there's no gray. It's black or white.
Right.
After getting my degree in computer science and interning at IBM, there was nowhere on God's green earth I wanted to do it. It was the most boring. It was the most boring stuff ever. Like, ever. I hated it. Like, literally. And to this day, I barely know how to turn on the damn computer.
I'm sitting here thinking
and
this guy loves it.
No, and I'm... But now my finance degree, business, that's what I do.
Has gone a long
it excited me. So that's how I knew I wanted to, have my own business one day.
So this is a question not for Ray Crockett, the all-star ball player. Okay, this is for Mr. Crockett, the businessman. What was the first business, and then how did you have your eyes on expansion? Because I know a lot of guys listening, they're either playing in the league or they retired, and they have one business or they got their eyes on one. Right. What was your first, and then what was your expansion move?
Quite frankly, I'm gonna be real with you. Yeah. My first business was in junior high.
What?
And I'm gonna say this, and my mom gonna be mad about it, but I told you I'm hot. I'm honest, open, and transparent. I lived in the hood, right? And in the hood, you do what you got to do to make it. And I used to go to the grocery store and steal candy.
Bang.
And took that candy to the school in junior high and sold it. That was my first business.
First business.
Yeah. I would steal candy out of the store, and go to my junior high, and at lunch, I would sell candy because, lunch is the suckiest stuff ever. So I got Twix, I got candy bars all in my jacket. Like literally, I cut a hole in my jacket and put candy off. So I got all candy bars in it. I was the original candy man, real talk. And I would sell it for 50 cents, 70 cents. That was my first business.
Wow.
That was my first business.
And it feels good though, right? When you get home and you got that pocket full of money.
$12.
What a ball.
$12?
$12?
What?
I'm gonna buy the state of Texas right
$12, man. I'm telling you, I thought I was a baller. And I'm talking $12 a day.
Right.
So at the end of the week, I got $50.
But you were. Okay, guys, right now, I want to combine what he talked about when it was a losing mentality and you start turning things around. And it's just the little things. I'm not going to lose as much, right?
Right.
It's like when you start making deposits. Willie Brown, when I was working for the Raiders, because I was, at the time, I didn't have any money.
Right.
And he said to me, no, just keep making deposits. And
That's
in my
it.
head, I'm like, that's easy for you to say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, okay, I still got bills. But it's true. Make deposits. And it's like, I was thinking about when you were talking about that analogy, it was like a boulder rolling down a mountain. At a certain point, that boulder's going to stop because it's going to hit a rock. It's going to slow down. Exactly. It's going to slow down. And that's what you did. Yeah. So what was the first business?
So then the real first business, it was a hair salon.
Not to hate on the candy.
No, the real first business was a hair salon. I actually would get my hair cut. I was a fashion guy.
Okay.
So my
still
barber,
is. You got to see the shirt. It's beautiful.
my partner, Eric Nichols, I met him cutting hair in Oak Cliff, and he was young, up and coming, and I was, a guy in the league, and I would look at where he was cutting hair at, and I was like, man, I like the place, but it's really sucks.
You're in Detroit at this time?
No, I'm in Dallas.
Now you're in Dallas.
Come home. Yeah, every time I started getting my hair cut by him in college.
Okay.
And then once I went pro, I still was getting my hair cut by him. And he and I used to always come together. We say, man, we should open a cool barbershop.
Yeah.
Like a cool fashion barbershop with this, that. Because the one he was like, it was just a barbershop. Go and get your hair cut. Nobody really wanted to stay. We was like, man, how about doing a barbershop where people can talk and people want to really. So we opened up a barbershop. We opened up barber suites and stuff like that.
Experience.
So we opened up, what he was good at and what I knew about. And that's how it came together. So we opened up like 6 barbershops or whatever.
That's
incredible.
That
was my first thing, yeah.
Wow. So then how, because now I think you're involved in multiple restaurants. I'm not sure how many, but what brought you into food and beverage?
I had a friend, like I said, I opened up a lounge when I was in a club, so to speak.
In Detroit.
Yeah, in Detroit. And that was just a party place. But I went from the barbershop to doing houses, to owning houses, doing multiple houses, to real estate. Then I went to food and beverage. But my first food and beverage shop was I met a guy in Vegas who was a good friend of mine. I knew the Malouse at the casino at the Palms. And I met a guy there. And he actually moved to Dallas, and that's how I got involved with him. He's like, man, I'm going to come to Dallas and open up a restaurant. You should be involved.
Wow.
So I got involved with it, and that went from 1 restaurant, 2, 3 restaurants, a lounge, all that stuff, yeah.
What is, to any of our guys listening that maybe they're young in the league or maybe they just retired, maybe they're about to make their first investment, what was maybe the worst thing you dropped your money into or the worst heartache you dealt with in business? And what's something you tell younger guys making their first investment as they head in?
I would say that there was a couple of worse things that I don't even need to mention, but I would just say this. Business is trial and error. And for anybody who think that you're just going to win, get that out your mind right away. You're going to lose. There's going to be some losers. And the thing that you have to understand is you have to know when to cut loose of the losers and take a loss and be okay with it. Like, so my problem was I didn't want to lose. So I ended up staying in businesses longer than I should have and losing more money than I should have because I don't lose. In my mind, if you're going to be in business, the first thing you do is take that out your mind. Say, I'm going to lose some and be okay with it. Because the quicker you lose, the quicker you can get to the winners. So, and then the biggest thing I would tell any young guy, any young want-to-be entrepreneur at this time is, as my dad told me, prepare for war in time of peace. Do not fall prey to the guys and the business people out there that'll tell you need to start a business now. No, you need to start a business when you know about what you are doing. Do not hand your money off to somebody and be a silent investor. No. Be an involved around investor.
That's so important.
Yes. Let whoever you invest with know, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be in the vicinity. And I may not know about the business all the way, but I'm going to know how many people here. I'm going to know if people are eating here or if people are buying stuff. I'm going to know. So I'll have an idea that we're making money or we're not making money. If the place empty, we ain't making money. If the place full, we making money.
Absolutely.
But if you're not there, you don't know.
Yes.
And read about it.
Yeah.
Read
Seriously.
about it. You know what I'm saying? If you're playing right now in the league and you want to start a business and you know, I want to go in the restaurant business, I want to go in real estate, I want to go in tax, I want to go in engineering, whatever it is, get a degree, get a Series 7, whatever you need to get if you want to be in finances, go find out. I have my insurance license right now. Go find out what it takes to be a professional and be that. Because one thing I would tell you is this, and hear me when I say this. I'm going to look in the camera when I say this. Whatever you do as an athlete is not transferable. It does not transfer to the next thing you're trying to do. That's why the transition is so hard for us, is because we think that we are a pro in everything, and you're not.
What a point.
And you're not. You're pro in whatever you did. Basketball, football, soccer, baseball, whatever that was. You're pro in that. But as soon as you transition, humble yourself and put down on the low pole and say, I'm not a pro. So learn. You know what I'm saying? That was a mistake I made. If you want to know the biggest mistake I made was because I was all pro in football and Super Bowl champion. I thought I was going to be all pro here and Super Bowl champion there.
Of course you did.
And
it's not a shock.
And they prey upon you.
They
prey upon you.
And you know what, Ray? The reason I'm so happy that we pulled off this episode of the Lounge, it's so important for me with this show is to bring in people that give the real, that live real. Hot boy show. This is a hot boy show.
Hot, baby.
Honest, open, and transparent. And that is the thing. And guys, when you heard that slapping noise right there, that was Ray slapping the cover of the book, okay? Bump and Run. It made me. It saved me. Make sure you pick up your copy. But Ray, that is so important what you just said. You're a man that has thrived. Really, if we're keeping stats, you're a star on the football field, but in business, you've probably even doubled your stats.
Yeah, I have become that.
You really have.
I wasn't at first. But the title of my book and the reason why it's my brand is because, like you said, it made me and it saved me. I am not one to say I did not go through hardships and trials and tribulations, because it did. Right. I'm not one to say that the transition was super easy, because it wasn't. I was ready for it, but it still wasn't easy. But bump and run, I realized that I wasn't big enough, I wasn't strong enough, and all of that stuff to play off and let guys dictate. I had to get up in their personal space and guide and dictate and move things and move receivers, running backs, whatever, tight ends around to where I needed them. It's the same thing I had to do in life.
Absolutely.
When life hit me, I was playing off coverage. You know, I was saying, it'll turn itself around. It'll come around eventually. No, hell no, it won't.
Get in there.
Get up close and personal.
Yeah.
Get up close and personal with your life. Get up close and personal with your finances. Get up close and personal with your marriage. Get up close and personal if you got depression, anxiety, which I suffered through all that. Get up close and personal.
Don't be ashamed and get in there.
Bump
I love
and
that.
run it. Bump and run your life. Bump and run your situation. That's where the book came from.
And one of the most important things you say, and not to shy away from that, because you're right, with mental health, with everything.
Yes.
But in business, and especially with our guys right now in the league as they're transitioning, it's so easy to take the advice of your accountant, to take the advice of your business manager, your friend, your this, your that. No, it's you.
It's you.
You make the call.
It's your legacy. It's your legacy money.
Yes.
It's your legacy. It's your legacy money. And I don't care who you are. You may not have expertise, but it's too easy to gain knowledge nowadays. Google
University, baby.
Google University. If you didn't graduate from your college, graduate from Google.
Yeah.
Because you can find out something about whatever you're trying to do on Google.
Absolutely.
And ask questions.
Absolutely.
Ask questions. I would give you this advice. If whoever you are dealing with do not want to answer questions, don't do business with them because they don't want you involved. They want your money, they want your name, they want your title, but they don't want your involvement. Mm-hmm. If they won't answer questions, don't do business with them, period.
That is a golden rule right there.
Period.
Golden rule. Period. Absolutely.
If they're not as accessible to answer your questions as they are to accept your money, don't talk to them.
And that's where our guys get taken advantage of. And that is golden rule. If you're listening to this, take heed to that. So let's wrap with a ball question because this has been a university level class really on business. How cool is it to go against Elway in practice? And was he the hardest quarterback to pick off? Who was the best quarterback you played against? I guess you saw the most reps against him, but take it away.
I mean, to be honest, the crazy thing is this. At Detroit, man, my first start was Thanksgiving Day, my second year in the league against John Elway in the Denver Broncos. In the Denver Broncos. The Three Amigos, the Denver Broncos, Super Bowl. You know, they had just went to the Super Bowl in '89, my rookie year. So they were still the Denver Broncos. You know, they hadn't won a Super Bowl at the time.
Right, but they were damn good.
They had been to the Super Bowl two or three times. And I picked off Elway, got player of the game. We ended up winning on Thanksgiving. And after the game, I went over to Elway because I was starstruck. Yeah. I mean, it was Elway. And he said, hey, if you ever become a free agent, we're going to get you.
Wow.
He gave me that boost. And that was my first start.
And he's a GM now, so he knows he's got an eye.
So after that, I became a free agent, went to Denver, and we ended up winning Super Bowls together. So it was and me and Steve Atwater, from being friends in college, you know, to pros, got to play together. And look, and it's crazy. Like I said, being in the Bible Belt, you know, if you know the Bible, 39 and 27, there's 39, you know, books in the Old Testament, 27 books to do. It was destiny. It was destiny for us to join together and win.
And, you know, I know you probably get asked this a million times a year, but how sweet is it to be a guy that grew up in the great city of Dallas, Texas, and for one of your most iconic plays to be that interception, 90-plus yards against them Cowboys? Man, how much do you love that? And I know you're not sick of that question.
Oh, man, it was fun. It was great. I mean, for one, because I thought I was going to be a Cowboy. They ended up drafting Tony Tolbert, who was a great friend of mine. Tony and I lived next door for 20 years to each
kidding.
other. Swear to God, we lived next door to each other for 20
years. What are the odds
years.
of that?
And Tony was like, we were drafted next to each other, now we live next door
weird.
to each other. Weird. We lived next door to each other for like 20-plus years. And Michael Irvin, you know, I come back to Dallas, and me and Michael Irvin and Emmett, all us would hang out with each other. So me and Michael had this thing. I was like, you know, if you score on me, he was like, you know, I'm gonna clown you. I was like, you know, if I take one back, I'm gonna clown y'all. So that's where the iconic stopped at the one, turn and look at their sideline and hit them with the what? That's where that came from. Nobody really knows. They thought I just was cocky. No, it was because me and Michael Irvin for 2 years had talked crap against each other. And I took Troy Aikman. You know, I graduated. I came out of college with Troy Aikman.
Okay.
So he was the first pick in the '89 draft, my draft. Wow. So it all came full circle. I was like, Troy, I told Troy, I was like, I'm going to get you. I was like, you going to Dallas? I thought I was going to be in. I was like, I'm going to pick you up. I told Mike. So all of that was accumulation.
Hey, I'll tell you what. When Ray Crockett says something, it comes true, baby.
It happens, baby. It happens.
If he speaks it, he lives it, and the universe reciprocates it. That's how it goes over here.
Yes, sir.
Ray, I'm so honored that you stepped into the NFL Alumni Lounge. Guys, when you come to Dallas, make sure you pay a visit to this Chop Shop bar if you're going to hit a Dallas Cowboys game.
And Musame and Akai. Musame is my Asian fusion restaurant. When I tell you it's a destination, the food is amazing. And after, you go to my lounge right next door. I walk you through the kitchen like old school, and it's a speakeasy lounge. It's a destination. Come on, check me out. And you might catch me there. Get you a quick autograph.
You might just catch him if you're fast enough. This is a very fast man, okay? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an episode here of the NFL Alumni Lounge live in Dallas, Texas. I'm your host, Charlie Boots. He's your guest, your host when you come to Dallas, Mr. Ray Crockett, and he's got two big, heavy pieces of jewelry on his hand when you shake it. Thank you guys for tuning in. This episode has been brought to you by Elway Health, the very best in hyperbaric chambers, red light therapy, blue light therapy, everything. Get yourself right. This has been the show from here in Big D. Ray, thank you so much for taking the time spending with us, man.
Thank you, guys. Hey, NFL, best league in the world.
Best league in the world. And we're going to continue the global expansion, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time right here on the NFL Alumni Lounge. Cheers, guys.